The Philadelphia Eagles are now coming out of Week 2 with a 2-0 record after a gritty, no-frills win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though the scoreboard says victory, this game revealed both the scariest strength and the most glaring weakness of this Eagles squad. Let's be real, this wasn't the high-flying, back-and-forth shootout we saw in that unforgettable Super Bowl matchup just 7 months ago. This time, it was a slugfest. A brutal, mistake-filled, no-glamour type of football game that tested the Eagles' resilience. And while it may not have been pretty, the win still counts the same. But under the surface, this game told us a whole lot more than just what the final score shows. Defensively, this team came out swinging. From the very first drive, you could tell the energy was different. Zack Baun came flying in on third down to force an incompletion and set the tone for what ended up being one of the most dominant defensive outings of the young season. Baun himself logged 6 tackles, 5 solo, a quarterback hit, and was constantly in Mahomes' face all game long. He earned the highest grade of any Eagles player with an 88.9 and made it clear that this defense came to play. But he wasn't alone. This unit was stacked with guys who stepped up and delivered. Josh Sweat followed up a dominant Week 1 performance by grading as the second-best player on the field for Philly, tallying 4 tackles and 3 pressures. Jordan Davis? The man was an absolute force again, eating up space, clogging lanes, batting down passes, and doing it for a heavy workload. He's already matched nearly his entire career total for batted passes, and we're only 2 games into the season. If you're looking for a sign that Davis is finally turning the corner and becoming that elite-level defensive tackle fans dreamed about, this is it. But the storyline that stole the show was all about the rook, Andrew Mukuba. If you hadn't heard his name before Sunday, you're going to hear a lot of it now. The rookie safety came up huge in the fourth quarter with a game-changing interception in the end zone. Patrick Mahomes was driving, Chiefs were threatening to take the lead, and then boom, a tip pass, Mukuba's instincts took over, and he came down with the pick. Not only that, but he returned it deep into Chiefs territory and flipped the game completely. It was the kind of play that rookies aren't supposed to make. The kind of moment where you realize this kid has something special, that nose for the football, that awareness, that dog in him. He finished with 6 tackles, a tackle for loss, a shared sack with Za'Darius Smith, a pass defended, and allowed just 2 catches in coverage. That's not just good for a rookie, that's good period. Speaking of Za'Darius Smith, let's talk about how absurd it is that this man joined the team just over a week ago and already made an impact. 20 snaps, 4 tackles, a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit, and a shared sack. That's wild efficiency. And the Eagles didn't just stop there. Nolan Smith got a big-time 4th-and-1 stop. Jalen Carter came back and, even while dealing with a wrist injury, led the team in quarterback hits. Moro Ojomo, first career sack. This front 7 was cooking, everyone ate, and it felt like every single snap brought pressure and problems for Kansas City. Vic Fangio deserves some credit here too. The improvement from Week 1 to Week 2 on the defensive side of the ball was obvious. Last week, there were questions, some missed assignments, some coverage lapses. This week, much cleaner, much more physical, much more aggressive, and more importantly, more cohesive. That's what you want to see early in the year. Progress. But while the defense was flying high, the offense, well, let's just say they're lucky the scoreboard doesn't come with style points. Because this was one of the most uninspired offensive showings the Eagles have had in quite some time. Jalen Hurts looked uncomfortable. The passing game was disjointed. The play calling? Predictable. And for a team with this much talent, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Devonta Smith, the lack of creativity is straight up frustrating. The run game with Barkley did show some life. It was better than Week 1, but even though it was heavily telegraphed. Here's a stat that'll blow your mind. Philly ran 26 plays from pistol or under center, and 25 of those were runs. Flip side, 33 shotgun plays, 26 of them were passes. If you can figure that out without a headset, imagine what a professional NFL defensive coordinator is doing with that information. It's too easy. And then you look at Hurts' passing chart, and it gets even more concerning. Everything was short. Almost nothing went over the middle. Way too many screens and swings to the flat that didn't do much of anything. It looked like a passing game stuck in quicksand. No play action, no creativity, no misdirection, just lining up and saying, "Here's what we're doing," and daring the defense to stop it, which the Chiefs did over and over again. And again, you can't really put all the blame on Hurts. He was under pressure constantly. The Chiefs blitzed him on over 60% of his dropbacks. That's the most they've ever blitzed under Steve Spagnuolo, and Philly had no counterpunch. No screens to punish it. No hot reads. No slants. Just shot plays or nothing. Even Tom Brady, who was calling the game, said that no one was getting open. And when Tom Brady is the one saying that, you know it's real. The offensive scheme just wasn't helping anyone out. Not the quarterback, not the receivers, not even the offensive line. And the longer this goes on, the more you start to wonder if this offense is going to break through or break down. Still, as much as we can and should criticize the offense, there's one thing that can't be overlooked. They didn't turn the ball over. And in games like this, that matters. Protect the football, play smart, and let your defense win it for you. That's exactly what happened. And when you look at the big picture, you went into Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes and walked out with a win. That means something. That means a lot. Speaking of Mahomes, let's take a second to appreciate how rare this is. This is now the first 3-game losing streak of his entire career. And Jalen Hurts? He just became the second quarterback ever, after Joe Burrow, to beat Mahomes 3 times in a row. On top of that, Hurts has now won 16 straight games that he started and finished. That is not normal. That is elite. The culture on this team, the mental toughness, the chemistry, it's all there. That's why they keep finding ways to win even when things are falling apart. Even when the offense looks broken. Even when Mahomes is on the other sideline. That resilience is what makes this team dangerous. And sure, they've got a long way to go if they want to get back to the Super Bowl. But if the defense can keep playing like this, and the offense can just find a little rhythm, this team is going to be right there when it matters. And let's not forget special teams either. Jake Elliott hit 2 bombs, one from 58 yards. That's clutch. That's points off the foot when your offense stalls. And in games like this, that's sometimes the difference between a win and a loss. Every phase counts. Every mistake matters. And for now, the Eagles are finding a way to get it done, even if it isn't always pretty. Now that we've broken down how the defense stepped up and carried this team across the finish line, we've got to keep it real about the offensive side of the ball. Because even with all the talent, all the hype, and all the tools, what we saw on Sunday was nowhere near the standard this Eagles offense should be hitting. It was sluggish, it was stale, and worst of all, it was predictable. And that predictability is what's really starting to concern fans and analysts alike. Because when you have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, weapons like A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Devonta Smith, and an offensive line that's supposed to be one of the best in football, there's no excuse for looking this limited 2 games into the season. One of the most frustrating parts of this whole situation is just how telegraphed everything is. Opposing defenses don't even need to disguise much anymore. They know what's coming. When you're in pistol or under center, they're keying in on the run, and they're right 95% of the time. When you're in shotgun, they know it's going to be a pass. That's not just a tendency. That's a full-blown tell. And in the NFL, if you're giving away your intentions like that, you're begging to get stopped. That's not strategy. That's charity. And when it comes to the actual route concepts, it's even worse. The passing game isn't just conservative, it's unimaginative. Too many passes to the flat, too many quick screens that go nowhere, and almost no effort to challenge the middle of the field. It's like the playbook has been stripped down to its bare bones, and nobody wants to take a risk. There's no layering of routes, no crossing patterns to confuse defenders, and no tempo variation to throw defenses off. It all feels mechanical, like the offense is trying to solve a math problem rather than attack with instincts and rhythm. And the result is an offense that, for long stretches of this game, looked stuck in neutral. What makes this more frustrating is that Jalen Hurts isn't playing bad football. In fact, he's doing just about everything he can with what he's being given. He's keeping the ball safe, he's making smart decisions, and he's using his legs when he has to. But when your top-tier quarterback is getting blitzed on over 60% of his dropbacks, and there are no answers built into the offense, then you've got a serious problem on your hands. There are no hot routes, no quick slants, no built-in checkdowns to beat the blitz. And that's not on the quarterback. That's on the coaches. That's on the play design. That's on the offensive philosophy. And listen, it's not just fans noticing this. A.J. Brown sounded off after the game. Nick Sirianni acknowledged that things aren't working the way they should. They know they're not hitting explosives. They know the rhythm is off. They're not blind to it. But knowing there's a problem and fixing it are two very different things. Right now, the Eagles seem stuck in that awkward early season phase where they're trying to find their identity. But every time they think they've figured something out, they revert back to a version of themselves that just doesn't work anymore. It's almost like they're scared to lean into what made them great last year. And because of that hesitation, the offense is playing tight and predictable. And yet, despite all that, there were still some flashes. That third drive in the first quarter, where Saquon finished it off with a 13-yard touchdown run. That looked like the Eagles of old. Balanced, efficient, explosive. The drive after Makuba's pick, where they punched it in and effectively iced the game. That was clutch. And of course, the brotherly shove. Say what you want about the legality, the aesthetics, or the controversy around it. But when it's third and short or fourth in inches, there's not a more automatic play in football right now. The Eagles used it for a touchdown, and then again to seal the game. And yes, it probably will be banned eventually, but as long as it's legal, they're going to keep milking it. And honestly, why wouldn't they? Of course, that play came with its own round of complaints, false starts that weren't called, alignment issues, people saying it's unfair. But here's the thing. The Chiefs weren't exactly saints in this one either. They were lining up offside, drawing phantom penalties, and even got away with a couple of questionable hits. The officiating in this game was inconsistent, to say the least. But Lane Johnson said it best. They hate us 'cause they ain't us. And he's not wrong. When you win, people will find reasons to complain. When you dominate in unconventional ways, they'll cry foul. That's just how it goes when you're on top. Now, let's circle back to Andrew Makuba for a second, because what this rookie did wasn't just a flash in the pan. It was the kind of performance that builds legends. You could feel the shift in energy after that pick. Arrowhead went silent. The Chiefs were stunned, and the Eagles took full advantage. Makuba's awareness in that red zone moment was next level, sticking with his assignment, reading the quarterback, breaking on the ball, and then making a huge return. And even though he joked about being mad that he got caught before reaching the end zone, the damage was already done. He flipped the script. He slammed the brakes on Kansas City's momentum. That's a play you remember. That's a play that changes careers. And what stands out most about Makuba is that confidence. He already believes he belongs. You hear him talk about being around the ball, about thinking turnovers, about becoming scarier once he gets more comfortable. And you realize this guy's not intimidated by the moment. He's embracing it. And that kind of mindset is infectious. It spreads throughout the defense. It creates a culture where big plays aren't hoped for, they're expected. And that's what separates good defenses from great ones. And man, when you look at how the Eagles have drafted on defense the past couple years, it's kind of insane how many hits they've had. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Andrew Makuba, all of them already showing they can be difference makers. And that's not even mentioning guys like Nolan Smith, who's still growing into his role. It's not easy to find instant impact players in the NFL, especially on defense. But Philly has done it, and they've built a front seven that is deep, versatile, and dangerous. This defense doesn't just have talent. It has depth. It has rotation. It has guys coming off the bench who could start for other teams. And that's what makes them so tough to play against. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles have reportedly acquired Bills' superstar quarterback Josh Allen, according to sources close to the situation. The news, still unofficial but heavily rumored, has ignited a frenzy among fans and analysts alike, as it could dramatically reshape the landscape of the league. If true, this blockbuster transaction would instantly position the Eagles as one of the most formidable teams in the NFL, combining their dynamic roster with Allen's rare combination of arm strength, mobility, and playmaking ability. Rumors of the deal began circulating late last night, with insiders hinting that the Eagles were aggressively pursuing Allen for months. The speculation suggests that the team is willing to go all in on a championship window that has been tantalizingly close, but just out of reach. Philadelphia has long been known for bold moves, but this potential acquisition eclipses anything seen in recent seasons. On social media, fans are split between exhilaration and disbelief, with memes, speculation threads, and heated debates dominating the internet. Many are asking how the Eagles could have convinced Buffalo to part with one of the league's most talented quarterbacks, and what the trade package might have entailed. Analysts are already projecting how Allen's arrival could change the Eagles' offensive identity. Known for his explosive throws and ability to escape pressure, Allen would give the Eagles a dual-threat quarterback capable of creating plays in both the air and on the ground. Questions remain, of course. How will he mesh with the team's current coaching staff and offensive scheme? Could this be the missing piece that finally takes Philadelphia to the Super Bowl? While no official confirmation has been made, the mere whispers of this deal have created a media frenzy, with networks and podcasts dissecting every possible angle. Regardless of whether the trade is finalized, one thing is clear. The NFL has been jolted by the possibility of Josh Allen in green and white. Philadelphia's fan base, starved for another championship, is dreaming bigger than ever, while the rest of the league braces for a potential seismic shift in power. If the Eagles truly pull this off, the 2025 season could be remembered as one of the most unforgettable in recent memory, where a single move turned the NFL on its head and left fans across the country buzzing for months to come. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.